Ready to make a real impact every day? Join the Active Day Home Care team and help clients maintain their independence in the comfort of their own homes. Make a difference in someone's life as you provide essential daily assistance and protect their health and happiness. Earn up to $20 an hour and enjoy additional perks like optional daily pay, 401k, paid time off, ongoing educational training, and more. Join a team that values care, compassion, and your professional growth. Visit activeday.com to apply.
Now, The Hunt Palmer Show.
Yes! I feel like I've been waiting for this my entire life.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Jolly good fun. Jolly good.
Locking down the middle of the day.
America's favorite daytime fun show.
Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studio. This is Hunt Palmer.
Monday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show. Hope your work week's off to a good start. May not be a work week for some. This seems like a pretty significant vacation week here with the 4th of July coming up. Got a few folks that are out here. Got Matt still out. Muso's still not here as well. Cassie's sister Jessie left one vacation, went on another vacation.
Cade's out.
Never seen someone leave vacation to go on vacation.
Yeah, that's kind of crazy.
Really impressive stuff. She hit the group text for the website and said, I can do that. And I said, it's about time she does something. She left a mountain vacation for a beach vacation. How does she get away with this?
It was two different families.
I respect it.
She came on our family vacation. Now she has to go on her husband's family vacation.
I need a family vacation.
Yeah, what's going on, hon?
Well, I went in April. It's just July.
I mean,
but I don't have anything else on the books. Just got nothing. Alyssa's going to Vegas to watch the Backstreet Boys. I just got 2 kids that I got to deal with. That
sounds fun.
That's my vacation for I don't have anything else planned. I'm doing a bad job at summer vacation.
You are.
Now I was gone for 12 days to Omaha.
You were.
And that it kind of feels like vacation, but there was also like a lot of work. Like I had to write 3 or 4 stories a day and go to those games and do the radio shows and do the radio hits. It's a job that I don't ever pretend that it's manual labor that I'm doing out here. It's watching sports and talking about them, and I love to do it. But it is there were a lot of responsibilities, if we don't want to call it actual like work. But yeah, I gotta do a better job on vacation.
Really do.
Alyssa and I are looking at doing something fun next year. We're gonna see what we can figure out. But as of now, I'm just gonna sit here and work. But most of you, hopefully, aren't doing a lot of work this week. If you are, we're getting your work week off to a good start. We appreciate you. All right, LSU football. LSU gets a commitment finally over the weekend. They had all these monster weekends with these huge name visitors and red carpet being rolled out for official visits and all that, and just kind of quiet on the commitment front. Desiree Nellis changes that over the weekend. 6'2" athlete from Winsboro, goes to Franklin Parish High School, and he pledges to the Tigers. Now, if you look at Des Ellis in terms of his like positional ranking, he's not going to jump off the page. He's a 3-star recruit by On3. As far as their composite goes, you're looking at a ranking nationally in the composite of like 455. He's the 14th ranked player in the state, but he's listed as an athlete and then on 24/7 listed as a quarterback. And that's what a lot of schools are recruiting him to play. At 6'2", 165 pounds, like, he's been a successful quarterback for Franklin Parish. Like, schools see the athleticism. They want him to play quarterback. That's not the way he's being viewed over by LSU's office. And it doesn't take very long at all to figure this one out. You're talking about a 6'2", 165-pound athlete that Corey Raymond's looking at and going, that's the way I like my corners. And he's churned through long, rangy, elite athlete corners for better than a decade in Baton Rouge. And just look at the guys that he's brought into this program over the last couple of years. DJ Pickett, now he's a unicorn. He's 6'4". And like DJ Pickett is all of 6'4". You go out to practice, we'll be out there in a month's time at practice, and he'll be out there running with the corners, and he's 2 or 3 inches taller than all of them. Now that's rare. You don't have a lot of 6'4" corners, but Pickett does fit that mold. Aiden Anding is the other corner they brought in last year. He's only listed at 5'11", but then you look at the other guys, Jakeem Jackson, the transfer portal, 6'1". Mansour Delane, transfer portal, corner, 6'2". Haven Finney is in this class with Des Ellis, and he's 6'2" as well, one of the top corners in the country. I've spoken about this time and time and time again, and I'm going to keep doing it because it keeps being relevant. Corey Raymond's got a profile. He's going to go get it. And you're just not going to see a lot of 5'9", 5'10" corners come play at LSU for Corey Raymond. It's just not going to happen. He wants 6'1", 6'2", long arms, can run. If he gets 6'1", 6'2", long arms, can run, he'll coach it. Stingley, Ricks, like all these guys are basically the same profile. Sometimes they grow up in Baton Rouge. Sometimes they're like Haven Finney or Eli Ricks out in California. Sometimes they're Des Ellis who plays quarterback in high school. Doesn't care. Give me the tools. I'll give you the finished product. And that's what Corey Raymond is planning to do here with Des Ellis. So this is a guy, to me, now this is my opinion, and y'all know, like, no one pays me to evaluate high school players against one another. That's not in my job description. But it would not surprise me if, because of this commitment to LSU and the fact that he's got another year to play, that by the time they evaluate him and go, okay, he's not a quarterback anymore, I don't need to place him amongst the other quarterbacks. What if we just talk about him as an athlete? What if we talk about him as a defensive back like LSU is talking about him? Well, how do you rate him then? And my assumption is this is a guy whose star rating and overall ranking as a prospect will go up this year because people are going to look at him more differently. Like if you're looking at a really athletic guy with a strong arm that's going to go play quarterback at West Virginia, and that's one of the offers that he had, that's a different skill set and a different way to analyze him as a college prospect than if you say, okay, this is a guy who's going to go play DB at LSU. And I think that LSU's evaluation there is going to carry some weight, and I expect that Des Ellis will climb in some of these rankings. I think this is a really nice ad just because, basically, not because I've poured over the film and I know everything about Des Ellis' ability to backpedal and flip his hips and go play the ball, because I trust Corey Raymond to evaluate this position implicitly. Like, it just do. And there are some that suggested that it was good that Corey Raymond was sent on to Florida and that he wasn't retained because Corey Raymond's, the game's passed him by and he hasn't done as good a job recruiting and all. I'm just not buying it. Guy just continues to pull in elite level corners and then put them out there. And I fully expect that this secondary, which y'all have heard me, like I've chastised LSU secondary for 2 years. I talked about it in the game against Florida State when Jordan Travis went nuts in Orlando. And then when we came back for camp last year, like I had a clip that went kind of viral going, I just don't know that LSU can cover. And I wasn't trying to like be overly negative. I wasn't trying to shove my homerism aside. Like I just went out there to practice and watched guys that didn't really cover very much. And it's hard to cover Malik Neighbors and Brian Thomas. I got it. But they didn't cover last year. And I didn't think they did a good job in the secondary last year. And I think that the talent level that LSU's brought in, when you look at Jakeem Jackson, look at Mansour Delane, look at DJ Pickett, and you consider that you're going to have Tamarcus Cooley out there as well, like you should have more talent at corner this year and the rest of the way. You see Haven Finney come in, you see Aiden Anning develop, you bring in a talent like Des Ellis, and it feels like LSU is close to shifting back to that strong secondary. And when you're talking about building a defense, I certainly want to start at the line of scrimmage, because if you can't win the line of scrimmage, you have no chance. But in this day and age of football, if you can't cover, you've got very little chance. And LSU, to me, has not covered well enough since really probably 2022. That was probably the last time they covered well enough. The Jarrett Bernard Converse teams. Like, since then, they just haven't done a good enough job, and they've got to fix that. And they've got a great position coach who's right now on the payroll to do it, and you're starting to see it. So this one makes a lot of sense. The second I saw cornerback, the first thing I do is go over to the height. Boom, 6'2". So there are bigger names that LSU is going to want to pull, but this is another nice grab from the state of Louisiana. Winsboro, Franklin Parish High, Des Ellis, 6'2", 165 pounds. He becomes, give me the number on that. How many commitments in this class? Now at 11. 11 commitments in this class. I think they would like to get that number up closer to 15 by the time they kick this thing off on Labor Day weekend. So we'll see. Des Ellis, the newest member of LSU's class from Winsboro. All right, that's a look at LSU football for today. If you're looking for LSU football content, I know where to find it. Hunt on LSU. You can search, type that into wherever you find your podcast. You can certainly find it on YouTube daily as well. Hunt on LSU. We're going to get deep into the football weeds here pretty soon. I think we're going to wade through baseball transfer portal a little bit this week, and by the time we come back next week, it's going to be full on football, I think, and that's really exciting for a lot of people. And I'm ready to dump in. It's easier for me to flip that switch over to football with a national championship in the back pocket. When the last taste of baseball season is a sour one, I feel like I resist football. I think some of you might be the opposite. Like if you have a bad baseball inning, like where can I shift my focus into football? I'm now baseball did what they needed to do. I can now easier when it's 105 degrees outside and it's the middle of summer, get into football. And so it's time to just about crank that up here, probably next week, full steam ahead with football. I know the guys in the morning are already knee deep into it, which you would expect from two guys who spent a long time in the NFL. That's the beauty of having different shows. You get different content on different shows, especially this time of year. Let's step aside. When we come back, we'll get into some Saints talk next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Genesis of Baton Rouge. GenesisofBatonRouge.com is that website. Every car that's on the lot is online at GenesisofBatonRouge.com. I tell you that every day because it's important. We live in a delivery society, right? You don't even go get groceries anymore. You have them brought to you. And you can shop that way for cars too. Genesis is happy to help you with a remote buy. You go to a website, check out all the options on their inventory. They're all there at GenesisofBatonRouge.com. And if you see something you like, you contact their brand ambassador, say, hey, I'm at home. Don't really feel like getting up and going to airline at PQ. I'd like you to come to me. And the folks at Genesis of Baton Rouge will say, okay, what's your address? See you shortly. They'll come. You can test drive there. If you like what you test drive, you still don't have to go to the dealership. They got e-contracts. They got digital delivery. Just tell us what you want. Here's where you sign. You can be on your way in a brand new Genesis. Every single new purchase comes with a 10-year, 100,000-mile warranty and 3 years of complimentary valet maintenance. It's Genesis of Baton Rouge. I invite you to check out that entire inventory at GenesisofBatonRouge.com.
This is the Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Gulf Coast Office Products.
No matter what line of work you are in, Gulf Coast Office Products has clients that do what it is that you do. They've got clients in every vertical market. So no matter if you're in education, healthcare, law, banking, whatever the case may be, they know what you need from a printing, scanning, copying perspective. And their knowledge can help your bottom line. If you're not using the proper equipment, maybe you're costing yourself money. And if you don't know that, you just be slipping right by. So contact Trey Beal and the team at Gulf Coast Office Products and just say, hey, this is what we're doing. This is what we've got. And let Trey take a look at it and see if he can't get you in a more profitable situation. It's the team at Gulf Coast Office Products. You can find them online at gcopnet.com, gcopnet.com. I was looking on the internet at some Saints musings earlier today, and I started thinking about something that I said before the draft. And you got to be held accountable for what you say, right? It's all on the internet. You can find everything I've ever said on this show on the internet. And I said entering the draft, they need to find 4 starters out of this draft. They don't have to all 4 make the all-pro team, but they need to find 4 starters out of this draft. And if you can do that and usher out some of the more expensive and aging contracts, you start that rebuild. It's the same conversation we've had so many times. But if I'm going to say that and just be general in that sense, okay, well, let's talk about the 4 guys that you're going to find that are going to start. And so you obviously begin that process at the top of the draft where they took Kelvin Banks and Tyler Shook. And you would suggest that when they take their first snap of the season, the Saints do, Banks will be at left tackle and Shook will be the quarterback. Now, how long Shook handles that job remains to be seen, but those 2 guys are going to be starters. So I now have to take 2 more out of the final, and that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 picks. And I got to get 2 starters. Vernon Broughton to me was an interesting pick, not wildly productive at Texas, but big, physical, and certainly a Bo Davis pick. I mean, that's a guy, Bo Davis coached him, and now he's the position coach for the Saints, and they took him there in the 3rd round. But I would actually dip down a little bit further for the one that I think is the most likely starter out of this draft beyond Banks and Shook. And to me, that's 4th rounder Quincy Riley, the corner from Louisville. Like, I look at the Saints secondary situation, which we talked about a little bit on Friday, and I go, you've spent some early picks on Kool-Aid McKinstry and Alontae Taylor, and those are the guys you're riding with, but they're unproven. And it's not like it would be shocking to see someone come in and unseat one of them or play alongside them at the nickel spot, maybe play outside to bump Alontae Taylor down into the nickel where he might be a little bit more comfortable. We've seen him play there a lot. Was certainly there when you had Lattimore and Adebo on the outsides and you bumped Taylor in, so maybe he's more comfortable there. Maybe he's not. But you've got some moving pieces there in a secondary that I think is looking for someone to come in and help solidify. And maybe they go sign Stephon Gilmore and he plays one of those spots. But you drafted Quincy Riley from Louisville, who was a playmaker at the college level. And I think there's a real chance that he grabs a starting spot. And then I talked about Danny Stutzman on Friday. I don't think he's a starter right now, but maybe he's a starter in 2026 if Demario Davis decides he's had enough, or you change the way the defense looks and you need a 3rd linebacker on the inside. Again, that's a decision for the coaching staff to make, but is that a guy that can find a spot? Because Jonas Sanker is a 3rd rounder, and maybe he does the same thing I'm talking about with Quincy Riley, but you do have at least one more year of Tyrann Mathieu, and you just signed a free agent in Justin Reed. So it's that path to the field is blocked a little bit until Mathieu hangs it up, which could be after this year. And so I think that those are the most likely candidates to be those starters. It's Banks, it's Shook, and then it's Quincy Riley, Jonas Sanker at safety, and Danny Stutzman at linebacker. I think it's, to me, Broughton's on the outside looking in. We'll see what this looks like next to Brian Brzee this year. And then you go towards the back end of the draft. Devin Neal's a guy that a lot of people like. Kamara's going to take the lion's share of those carries, and I think that you're looking at a shot where he gets 70% of the run at running back, and then somebody comes in and spells him. Neal's not a starter for the next 2 years, and I don't think he's necessarily a guy that you drafted to be your starting running back. He's more of a rotational piece. And then you got Molokai Matavo. I don't think he fits in with that contract you just signed Juwan Johnson to. You still have Foster Moreau. Like, that seems like a stretch to be a 7th rounder who finds a way in. And then Fadil Diggs, you took out of Syracuse. He's got some talent, some pass rushing ability, but you've got guys on the edges. It's one of the stronger pieces of your roster in terms of depth. You just re-signed Chase Young. You do have Carl Granderson. Cam Jordan's got at least 1 more year to play. So those seem unlikely to me. It's more likely the guys at the top of the draft, and I think the guys in the secondary that have got to break through and find their way into the starting lineup to help get you younger and cheaper. And if you can move on from Tyrann Mathieu's contract and you can be significantly cheaper at corner than you were when Marshawn Lattimore was manning that spot for the last few years after his 2nd contract, you're just making dents trying to get this. You can't bite all this at one time. It's got to be a slow process. And so you're looking at some big contract numbers. Like, Shook significantly changes the structure of your organization after Derek Carr's contract comes off the books. That was over $100 million you had invested in that position. You can now get it on a rookie deal. Kelvin Banks playing left tackle. That's one of the most expensive spots in the sport of football. If you can have a rookie manning that spot on a rookie deal, it's just massively cheap. If you can... Do you see how much money could be available to this team in the salary cap if you've got left tackle and quarterback on rookie deals? That's just a massive advantage on the entire rest of the sport. if you can get that right. Now, you got to get Carr's money off the books. Ramczyk has retired, and that's obviously right tackle, but it is one of the tackle spots, and he's one of the best of the decade, so that's a significant chunk of change as well. But to do it on the cheap at those two positions, if it works, man, is that a roadmap to some financial flexibility. And you can go out there and actually add meaningful pieces in free agency at the top of the game instead of fishing for some scraps and trying to find a diamond in the rough at the bottom. And that's the plan here that you can see in motion that could work. It's just a matter of, do you trust the Saints to evaluate and get these guys into the lineup and make sure they're starters? I'd love it if this draft produced 6 starters, but I think it's got to have 4. And we're inching towards training camp. The Saints just announced today that all their practices are going to be open and tickets are available now. You're getting closer to getting back to financial freedom, which you were a long way away from 10 months ago. And so I just wanted to put some actual names and some opportunities to the claim that I made pre-draft, now that we know what the draft class is and we're getting closer to those guys who have now gone through their OTAs and gone through their rookie mini camp, and they're now getting ready for training camp less than a month away. Like, okay, who can make this push? Who can get to the lineup? Who can make sure that one position is locked down at a rookie contract level? It's just, there's nothing more important than that right now for this organization, than getting these rookies on cheap deals to play at a high level. Shook is the most important, obviously. It's the quarterback spot. We all know that. It's got to happen. But if you can get Banks and then find maybe 2 guys in the secondary that can play on these deals that are 3rd, 4th, 5th round picks, that's where the nucleus of rosters is built. Yes, you need the stars, and you got to find those guys early. And the Saints have invested on the offensive line, and now they've finally taken a quarterback. But the meat of your team that goes from the 6th best player to the 50th best player has to be done in the middle rounds of the draft and with undrafted free agents. And so the Saints have got to start hitting on those. Got to start hitting on those. No more Marcus Davenports. No more Isaiah Foskey's. Like, those are crippling to what you're trying to get accomplished. Got to hope you've hit on more of these guys than you missed on with this draft class. And that's something that I spent some time looking at this morning and wanted to kind of sift through out loud on the show today. If you're looking for Saints content, check it out, Hunt on Saints, wherever you find your podcast, wherever you find your sound, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google. Just search Hunt on Saints. You can also find us on YouTube every day. Nothing but Saints football all year round. Hunt on Saints. We still got 30 minutes of show left. Let's come back and do a little bit more. I'll touch on a little bit of baseball. And what else grabs my attention here on this Monday? Hope your work week's off to a good start. Come back for more. The Hunt Palmer Show.
The Hunt Palmer Show. You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Gulf Coast Office Products.
Very cool news for a pair of former Tigers today. It was announced that Gage Jump and Tommy White are both going to be in the MLB All-Star Futures game coming up in 2 weeks from Atlanta. If you're not familiar, they take some top prospects from around baseball, American League team and a National League team, and they play the Sunday night prior to the All-Star weekend festivities. So Monday's the Home Run Derby, Tuesday's the game, and everybody's off Wednesday and Thursday, and they get back to playing on Friday. But that Sunday night, the Futures game takes place, and Gage Jump and Tommy White have been selected to play. They're both actually draft picks of the Athletics. I have to catch myself to not say the Oakland Athletics.
Yes.
Just
or the
Athletics
A's.
Or the A's. They both were drafted by the A's last year, and they've had really good seasons in their first full professional season of baseball. Gage Jump has made it all the way to Double-A in 2 stops, High A and Double-A thus far this year. He is 8-3 on the season with a 2.09 ERA. He was in Lansing at High A. Now he's with Double-A Midland in the Texas League. He's got 89 strikeouts and 73 1/3 innings of minor league baseball this year, which is fantastic for the left-handed pitcher. Of course, he kind of assumed the ace role of LSU's team last year, coming off of injury, and has been great in his first pro season. Tommy White hitting a .279 in his first minor league season with 9 home runs and 16 doubles in 48 games. He is with Lansing in High A right now. So those two guys will be making the move up to the Futures game. That's a great indication of kind of the way that Major League Baseball projects those two guys. It looks like Gage Jump has got a chance to get up into the big leagues maybe next season. And Tommy White's still got a ways to go, but certainly that bat is one that a lot of people are going to be looking to in minor league baseball. Hopefully he can find his way to Double-A over the course of this second half of the season. But it's cool that those two guys get to play in the Futures game. I was looking over the rosters, and some names that a lot of LSU fans will be very familiar with. First of all, Connor Griffin, who was in LSU's class last year, was a first-round choice of the Pirates. He's already considered the number 2 prospect in Pittsburgh's organization and the number 31 prospect in all of baseball as a probably 19-year-old at this point. He would be a freshman at LSU on this past team. So Griffin, who's a shortstop / outfielder, just an elite athlete, is already on the Futures team. He had no chance of ever reaching campus this year. But you look at some of the guys that you would be familiar with as an LSU fan. Jurangelo Sainja, the switch pitcher for Mississippi State, will be in this game. He's a Mariners prospect, number 84 in all of baseball, so he'll be in this game. Enrique Bradfield, former leadoff man from Vanderbilt, in this game as well. Charlie Condon, slugger from Georgia, who had a bajillion home runs last year and won the Golden Spikes. He's a Rockies prospect, their best prospect, in fact, number 22 in all of baseball. He'll be making an appearance in this game. A name that caught my eye is Marquise Grissom Jr., a right-handed pitcher, is in this. Marquise Grissom was a outfielder in my childhood that I recall watching pitch. So he'll be in this game. Trey Savage from East Carolina as well. And Cubs got a couple of representatives, Owen Casey and Jackson Wiggins, will be in this game. Both guys doing good work in AAA and AA respectively. But very, very good news for Tommy White and Gage Jump. One thing I found very interesting, Tommy White, A's prospect, is in this game. So is Thomas White, left-handed pitcher from the Marlins.
What if he goes by Tommy?
I vividly remember watching the draft 2 years ago, and Tommy White had another year of eligibility. It was right after the national championship season, and Thomas White got drafted. And I was furiously searching.
He's a first-round pick.
To make sure that wasn't Tommy White and that I didn't mess up that he was a draft-eligible sophomore and I had no idea. That was not the case, but those names will get you in the MLB draft.
Very good pitcher, Thomas White.
Appears that way. Number 29 in all of baseball, number 1 in the Marlins organization. So very cool. Gage Jump is going to pitch in the big leagues. I think Tommy White is going to make the big leagues as a hitter. He impressed me so much defensively his last year because it was a deal where you thought he might have to move over to first base, and that kind of can become a logjam with as much hitters. But if you can play defense at third base, you kind of separate yourself a little bit from just the guys who are just bats. Like Jared Jones, wherever he shows up, is going to be bogged down by a lot of dudes that just hit. And Tommy White can maybe differentiate himself a little bit as a good defensive third baseman. He's hit everywhere he's ever been. And I think the thing about Tommy White is he's such a good hitter to the opposite field that helps you stay out of slumps. If you're a dead pull hitter and you need pitchers to make mistakes and leave the ball over the inner third of the plate to do any damage, it's just hard to if guys execute pitches, you're going to be easy to pitch to. And in this instance, Tommy White's never easy to pitch to because you can just work him away and he'll drive it the other way. That's what made him and Cruz so tough to deal with at LSU, and what is going to make him a good minor league pitcher.
Yeah, I was just for Tommy White. I was just looking at his stats in playing at third. He's so far this year he's played 44 games. He's got 11 errors. Not great.
That's awful.
That's pretty bad. So
that's one a week.
Yeah. So hopefully. He can improve on that because he really would have a much better chance at third.
That's interesting because I think he made 2 or 3 last year at LSU.
2, I think.
2. So I can see the pitching's way better. Okay, you don't have the same offensive numbers. Defense is the same. The exit velocities are the same. The ball, I guess most guys run a little bit better if they're pros, but you would think that the defense would just translate because it does.
Yeah, it's strange.
Maybe it's the fact that LSU led the nation in strikeouts last year, and there weren't as many balls in play.
He had 3 errors in his last year at LSU.
Yeah, I mean, he was, and not only did he only have 3 errors, he made some great plays. He was really good charging in on slow rollers and bunts. He made some plays to the backhand side. He could move to his glove hand side. Like, that's odd that he's done that, and like that's a bad deal. If he gets typecast and say, oh, he can't play this position over at third, and he's got to go over there and either DH or play first base, like that's where they lump in all the hitters. You can push yourself out of the pile if you can make it over there at third base. Is there any other SEC? I'm not seeing a lot of SEC names that I recognize on this list. That's every single team. I figured there would be more. There's Braden Montgomery from the White Sox, who was a Red Sox draft pick, was traded to the White Sox. He's the number 32 prospect in all of baseball, just 2 years after he was drafted out of Texas A&M. So that's the SEC flavor for the Futures game. Again, that game is Sunday night, coming up from Truist, the home of the Atlanta Braves. Right before the Sunday night, the July the 17th, is that the July the 12th, right before the All-Star game cranks up. All right, quick segment there. We do have one more to go here. We'll take a timeout, come back. We'll do a little bit more discussion, and then we'll talk about, we'll do some take it or leave it as well. Our Monday show is brought to you by Gulf Coast Office Products. You can check them out online, gcopnet.com, gcopnet.com. It's Trey Buell and our friends over at Gulf Coast Office Products. All your printing, scanning, copying needs over at Gulf Coast. One more segment to go. Monday edition, Hunt Palmer Show.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
One Bath and Closets. OneBathAndClosets.com is the website. David Duvall and his team, 30 years redesigning and remodeling bathrooms and closets. Safety can be a big issue in the bathroom, especially as folks age. If there is a loved one in your life that wants to stay at home, but you feel like could have a hazardous situation in the bathroom, do what you can to mitigate against that. Get your non-slip floors put in. Get your guardrails around slippery areas put in. Walk-in tub is safer and more convenient. Showers with a bench in it can be safer, more convenient. And these are things that David Duvall and his team do all the time. If you've never considered that, just give it some thought. And you're thinking, well, where do I start? Well, you start with a free consultation with David and his team. They come in, just talk about their process and what they can do for you. I can promise you this, they'll do it right the first time and leave the competition behind. If you're looking for financing options, they've got them. 18 months, 0%, same as cash. It's One Bath and Closets. Check them out online, onebathandclosets.com.
This is the Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Gulf Coast Office Products.
On Twitter yesterday, I asked for my followers to throw some questions at me for a mailbag for LouisianaSports.net. And got a great response, got plenty of questions, and was able to write the mailbag this morning when I got to work, and it's up at LouisianaSports.net right now if you'd like to read it. One of the questions, I thought, it got me to thinking. The question was, how do you think LSU has fared in the NIL transfer portal era? And it wasn't like the baseball program, it was just like LSU in general. And I started to think about that, and I was like, I don't know if on the high end, anyone has fared better than LSU in the NIL and transfer portal era. Because you look at Jaden Daniels coming in and winning a Heisman Trophy, second pick in the draft. You look at Paul Skeens, National Pitcher of the Year, National Champion, first pick in the draft. You look at Angel Reese, comes in, wins a national championship, is, one of the faces of the WNBA. You look at even like Anissa Morrow comes in and is littered the college basketball record book out of the transfer portal. You look at Anthony Ianson and what he just did. Tommy White, just talked about him playing in the futures game. Like, this is the high end. I realize everyone's got transfers, and there have been plenty of schools that have done great things with transfers. But like, you look at what LSU has done with Heisman trophies, national championships, first pick in the draft, MLB futures games, like the transfer portal, LSU has gotten as many stars out of that portal as any athletic program, I would have to think. And you look at NIL and no, LSU didn't get Bryce Underwood. Like, that stinks. You've got a situation where the Oracle CEO is bored and his girlfriend wants a quarterback. He goes and buys a quarterback. That's not good. But you look at what LSU's done. Like, LSU baseball's had number one transfer portal classes. LSU football had the number one transfer portal class this year. Women's basketball's had the number one transfer portal class. And part of that is NIL. And LSU has done such a good job on the high end with NIL that Amazon came in and did the documentary, The Money Game, to talk about Olivia Dunn and to talk about Angel Reese and to talk about some of the people that have come to LSU and have elevated their brand so that they can make money. And LSU's booster base doesn't have the most money, but they've certainly found money when they needed it. And you're winning championships because of it. Gymnastics won a championship. Baseball's got 2 championships. Women's basketball's got a championship. So, I think it was probably a little bit unlikely that LSU would be the school that made the biggest splash in this. Maybe you would think somebody out in Hollywood or one of the huge oil schools in Texas. But if you look at stars produced and championships won, it's tough for me to find a school that's done a better job than LSU. And so I think the answer to the question that was posed in the mailbag is how are they doing? They're doing as good as anybody. And so we'll see what happens now that the rules have changed again. And now that you've got revenue sharing and you're capped at $600 for an NIL deal, then it's got to be cleared. And we'll see what that does to teams in terms of pay for play. But, LSU's as good as anybody at playing this game right now. And they've got full trophy cases over on campus that can prove that. So just something that I hadn't given a ton of thought to, but this is the time of year when you start to do that kind of stuff. And who's on a bigger heater right now than LSU's brand and their athletes? And that's why when we talked to Wilson Alexander back on Friday about LSU feeling like they're positioned really, really well moving into this new era, and Kelly Zinn gave him quotes that back that up. There's reason for that. You've got a monster brand that's churning out incredible stuff every year. I've been asked by the Baton Rouge chapter of the LSU Alumni Association to kind of MC their event every August the last 3 years. And I interview all the coaches on campus, from men's basketball, women's basketball, track and field, golf, both tennis teams, everybody, swimming and diving. And every year I've done that, I've interviewed a national championship coach from that past school year. Talked to Kim Mulkey after they won theirs. Talked to Jay Johnson after they won theirs. It's crazy, these amount of success that LSU has had over the last 5 years. And part of it is because of what they've got in place to take advantage of the rules. So just a thought that I wanted to kind of flesh out there as we get down the road. We got one more order of business here on this Monday. That is, of course, take it or leave it.
Take it or leave it.
Take it or leave it.
Presented to you by Flight by Yingling, the next generation of light beer, crafted by America's oldest brewery. Today's hottest stories in sports, news, and sometimes even Hunt's life. The question is, will he take them or leave them?
Flight by Yingling, the next generation of light beer. If you're headed out on the lake or to the pool or to the beach for the 4th of July and you want something cool, crisp, refreshing, no better summer beer than Flight by Yingling. 2.6 carbs, 95 calories, but still maintains a delicious beer flavor. It's Flight by Yingling, the next generation of light beer.
All righty, the first one here, $1,100 for a stroller and car seat. Take it or leave it.
Mr. Beck, you take it, because that's just the way that goes. And guess what? Not done spending money. Just never ends.
Yeah.
You got to pay to go to the hospital, and you got to pay for daycare, and then you got to. It's just never ending
I'm actually avoiding the daycare front, thankfully, with my mom, who is going to take on that role. So
excellent work, Mom.
Yes, very, very appreciative of that one. All right, moving on. Next one here. EA Sports has officially announced the revival of its NCAA basketball video game. So they already brought back football. They're coming out with the second one this year. But the NCAA basketball game will be coming out in 2028. Take it or leave it.
Take it. I used to play a lot of college basketball back in college. Drew Neitzel and Michigan State were my preferred squad.
What?
He could make threes.
Okay, but you
get buckets.
You're like one of the biggest LSU basketball fans I know.
I love LSU basketball.
And
but,
they were probably pretty good when you were playing.
We're okay.
Okay.
I don't know if the year was, the 09 team was obviously very, very good, but I don't know if anybody knew they were going to be good when they made the video game. So you're not going to be as good.
So the next year they were probably really good.
Yeah. I was just getting Drew Neitzel and just getting buckets at the Breslin Center up there in East Lansing.
That is so random. Like, where did that?
I once beat we went to the bar, came back, and ordered a pizza and played some MCA basketball. And I told him that I was only going to shoot with Drew Neitzel the entire game, and I won.
Wow, Hunt.
That's called skill.
That might be one of your greatest achievements.
Look, I don't have a lot of achievements. When you get one, you gotta go with it. You gotta put it on the air. You gotta tell people how awesome you were in 2008 at playing NCAA basketball.
All right, this week in the PGA Tour, the John Deere Classic, Hunt. Many call it the fifth major. Take it or leave it.
Yeah, I'm gonna leave that. John Deere, man, this is the dog days on tour here. You got
just had the Rocket Mortgage.
One more major to go. When's the 3M? You got to get the 3M.
3M's that's always at the end of July, I think.
Buddy, can't miss the 3M.
We got a nice run here. We got the John Deere Classic.
TPC Deere Run.
Yep.
Is Spieth playing? Spieth always wins the Deere.
Always, yeah. He probably is.
Who's the other person that's won the Deere like 3 times?
Oh yeah. Man, I can't think of it. Well, the winner last year was Davis Thompson. He's actually pretty solid.
Did Bubba win it a few times?
Somebody else did, yeah. I'm going to have to look that up real quick. But, yeah, we're in the dog days right now for everything. I mean, there's the baseball. Baseball's in the dog days right now. Golf is going to be,
Steve Stricker won it 3 times.
Yeah. Golf is in, we're just waiting for the Open Championship.
Steve Stricker won the John Deere Classic 3 years in a row. 09, 10, and 11. That's elite stuff.
Yeah, that is very elite.
Just absolutely dominating TPC Deere Run.
And now he's dominating the senior what's it called? Champions, PGA Champions Tour.
PGA Tour Champions.
PGA Tour Champions. Yeah, Steve's really a big player on there.
Davis Thompson won the John Deere last year at 28 under par, and now we're spending a lot of time talking about the John Deere Classic. It is officially the middle of summer.
Yes.
We got 1 week past baseball, and now we're just completely off the rails with the John Deere.
We got 3 weeks till the British Open, or the Open Championship.
The Open Championship. Shane Lowry was at Portrush yesterday getting a little practice run, and it was just raining like crazy.
He might just stay there for 3 weeks and just play there, because what else is he going to do? I don't think he's going to play the John Deere Classic or the ISCO Championship. I have no idea.
Where in the
what
world
that
is the ISCO Championship?
Oh, that's the alternate for the Scottish Open. They have the Scottish Open next week. So.
Scottish Open's good.
That's solid.
Renaissance Club.
Bobby Mack, Robert McIntyre, winner of that last year. That's it for take it or leave it.
Great. Take it or leave it there.
Yeah, thank you. Not a lot to work with, Hunt. I mean, this week in next week.
Yeah, Matt's on to something taking this week off.
Yes.
We got 2 weeks until media days. That's right. Is that right?
15th, I think.
So we got 2 weeks to power through here. I need Jay Johnson to start tweeting out some tiger emojis.
Yes.
I need tiger emojis. I need the content. It needs to happen.
Some football commits wouldn't hurt either. I mean,
I don't. That's a dead period. I don't know what's going on with that. We'll see. But appreciate everybody for hanging out with us here on this Monday. Hope your work week's off to a good start. Our Monday show is brought to you by Gulf Coast Office Products. All your printing, scanning, copying needs is Gulf Coast Office Products. Started the show today talking about Ashton Larson jumping into the transfer portal, and I gave you 2 names of pitchers that I think LSU's got a chance to land. So if you want to go back and catch that, you can at the top of the show. Jarrett Roser from On3 joined us at 1:15 to talk about the Manning Passing Academy. He was down there to chat with Garrett Nussmeier, Cade Klubnik, Arch Manning, and a few others. So had a good conversation with Jarrett. He also gave his thoughts on Lamar Brown and where things stand with the U-High star as far as his announcement date coming up in 10 days. Statistically speaking, some baseball stats that I found interesting in the middle of the first hour. And then our sports health segment with Oxner, Dr. Jeremy Burnham is at the end of the hour. Then some LSU football in hour number 2 with Des Ellis committing. I kind of looked at LSU's cornerback recruiting under Corey Raymond and why I think it's going in the right direction. So all that is on demand wherever it is that you find your sound. Just search Hunt Palmer Show. Like, subscribe, rate, review. Get our content in front of as many eyes as you possibly can. We appreciate that. All right, that's it for me. Taylor Sharp's going to drive you home on After Further View. We're back tomorrow, same time, same place for a Tuesday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show.
The Hunt Palmer Show.